Good evening, OCPS families. This is Victoria Tierney, the Senior Administrator for Family and Community Engagement for Orange County Public Schools, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you this evening to our virtual Parent Academy that is focusing on our public universities in Florida, state university system, college admissions panel. And we have some wonderful schools that are here to share their information with you this evening. I want to make sure we introduce everyone. So we are joined on the panel by Beth Seguil from the University of Florida. She is Assistant Director for In-State Recruitment. We also have Katora Austin Hyken McClendon from FAM, and she is the Recruitment Coordinator for the College of Engineering, as well as the Enrollment Specialist in admissions. We have Haley Wharton from the University of Central Florida. She is the Senior Assistant Director for Undergraduate Admissions. And from Florida State University, we welcome Courtney Wood, who is the Assistant Director for First Year Applications. We also, from the University of North Florida, have Emma Hansen, who's the Admissions Recruiter. And we have Diego Arriaga, who is the Admissions Counselor from Florida Polytechnic. We want to also welcome Mitch Bacinelli, who is the Director of Admissions Operations for Florida Atlantic University. So I want to say a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for your time. Our families do appreciate it. This evening, families, to let you know how we are going to go about our panel evening, we're going to introduce each school, and they will have about 10 minutes to present an overview of their school. If you have any very specific questions that you feel you need to ask, by all means, drop them in the chat. However, we'd like to try and get through the schools and have a question and answer period at the very end. We are really excited to get started. So we are going to start with the University of Florida. And Beth Seguil, I'm going to go ahead and hand the reins over to you, Beth, and you can start presenting.
All right, thank you. Let me pull my screen up so everybody can see. All right, just a second. Give me just a moment. I apologize for that.
We're all good.
All right. And share. It's not happening. Hang on just a second. I apologize again.
Sure.
Let's try it one more time. There we go.
There we go. See?
All right. Okay. I'm assuming everyone can see that. Hello, my name is Beth Seguil, as I was introduced, and I am the Assistant Director for In-State Recruitment at the University of Florida. We're located here in Gainesville, Florida, so just a couple of hours from Orlando, so not a very far drive. But we're actually in every county within the state of Florida because we are a big R1 research institute. So we do research in every county, so you'll find us everywhere. We are large not only in our land size, but we are large in our student population. We have almost over 38,000 undergraduate students. So the one thing that students get a little worried about is getting lost in the crowd here. But I want to tell you that there are lots of ways that you can kind of create your own individual path here at UF so that you feel like you are not just one in 38,000, but that you feel like you are part of a community and that you belong at UF. So the first way that you might kind of create your own pathway is through our academics at the University of Florida. There are over 120 different undergraduate majors for students to choose from. So if you can think about it, you can probably major in it. The thing is most of our students come in and they have some idea of what they want to do, or they may know exactly what they want to do because they're looking at our professional schools like our School of Medicine or law, dentistry, pharmacy, or the only veterinary medicine school within the state of Florida. But when you apply as a freshman, you are actually applying to be part of the freshman class, not to a specific major. That actually happens later. So one of the benefits is that you have the opportunity and the time to kind of change your mind or to learn and grow as you go through your college experience. We also have a terrific faculty with a 17-to-1 student to faculty ratio once you get outside of your general ed classes. So you have the opportunity to do what most of you are probably already doing now as students, and that's to get to know the people who are teaching you. And remember that research that I talked about. Well, this is a great way to get a foot in the door with a lot of that, because research is not just for graduate level students. You can start researching as soon as you're a freshman year, if that's something that excites you. One of the things we're also very excited about with our academics is that we have a massive AI certificate program going on across every single major, where students can choose, if they wish, to earn a 3-class certificate in artificial intelligence, because we see this is kind of the way where things are going, where employers are going to want their employees to be able to have an understanding of how AI works and works within their field. So it doesn't matter if you're in a field that seems far removed from artificial intelligence, we've got classes for you if that's what you'd like to do. Of course, another way that you can kind of create your own pathway is thinking about, well, cost. Cost is going to be very important for our students when they are looking at how to pay for school. Of the top 50 ranked colleges within the United States, we have the lowest tuition, hands down. And in fact, we haven't raised our tuition in at least 13 years. Now, I'm not in charge of that, so I can't promise that that won't change at some point, but this is currently where our tuition stands and has stood for a long time. Every student who is admitted to the University of Florida is automatically looked at for our merit-based scholarships. And as long as you have the FAFSA fill out, we will look at you for financial aid. And in fact, about 85% of our undergraduate students receive financial aid of one kind or another. So another great way to save. Probably the best way outside of academics, however, to find your place at UF would be through community. And that's a really big part of what our students like to do. So you might want to start with our student clubs and organizations, which range from anything from the academic to research to gaming. So you name it, we've got it. And if for some strange reason we don't have it, you can create your own club. You might want to join something like the Falling Gators, which is our skydiving club. Not me personally, not my favorite. But I will tell you that I just saw in our courtyard recently, the Gators versus Zombies signs up is coming very soon. And they were all getting ready with their Nerf guns. Anyway, it's a really great way for students to connect and to make friends. Another great way is to live on campus, which is not required ever, but if you choose to, when you apply to the University of Florida, you will be offered the opportunity to apply for housing at that time. To go ahead and put your name on the list. It's kind of a step ahead to make sure that you are on top of that. And we have a wide variety of residence halls for our students to choose from. One of my favorite things, though, that I'd like to talk about is the ways that our school helps out students in ways that students may not even realize that they need help. And one of the best ways that you can do this is through our Career Connections Center. If you're a student who's coming to us and you are undecided in your major, remember, you don't have to know what your major is right away, or you don't have to stick with your major. Well, this might be a really great place for you to stop, because I always like to remind our students there are more job opportunities and careers out there than I think most people realize. And there are more and more new ones coming each and every day. So this might be a great place for you to stop by and see just what opportunities are available to you. But even if you know exactly what you're going to do for the rest of your life, you can go in there and work on your resume. You can find internships. In fact, 66% of our undergraduates receive or complete at least one internship, and a lot of them do more. The Career Connection Center is great about holding job fairs and holding job openings for students. In fact, interviews even happen right there. They even have a closet where students can receive free of charge business clothing once a semester, so that when they go to interviews and internships, they're looking professional. It's a great way for them to go ahead and find their place at UF. So let's talk about the different pathways that students can be admitted to the university, because this is obviously a big question. When a student applies to UF through the Common App, which is the only way that you can apply to UF, students will be asked their preferred start time, either the summer or the fall. This is a great place for me to tell you that it's not easier to get into the summer than it is the fall. We look at everybody in the same bucket. So despite rumors that have been going around for years, it's not easier. But also please notice that I said preferred start time and not promised start time. We do our best to look at what students prefer first, and then we look at other options. Some of those options outside of the traditional pathway of starting in the summer or in the fall would be the three that you see on the screen here. Our Pathway to Campus Enrollment, or PACE program, covers fully 60 or half of our majors, and students who are in this program, well, it's a hybrid program. They start with UF Online, but then transition to campus, fully on campus, in person for all of their classes, once they've met two criteria. One, they have to hit 60 credit hours, and two, they have to meet the prerequisite requirements for whatever their major is. Once they've done that, they're on campus. Now, most of our PACE students go ahead and move to Gainesville. They pay an activity fee that's basically been removed from their tuition. They put it back in, and then they do everything that every traditional student does. Innovation Academy is a smaller program and will only pop up on your application if you have indicated a major that you're interested in that falls underneath there. There are about 29 majors. We'll look at you first traditionally, but Innovation Academy is another option if you like the idea of innovation and entrepreneurship, because this is what you would be minoring in. It is an atypical meeting time, however. They meet in the spring and the summer only for classes. They do not meet in the fall. So keep that in mind if you are asked that question on your application. And finally, we have our honors program that anyone can apply to. And this is a good place for me to say you can still be admitted to UF and not into the honors program, even if you do apply for that. But it's for our students who like a challenge. They have their own honors village. They get some of their own live and learning communities. They have their own classroom spaces, their own teachers, their own academic advisors. And I highly recommend that you read up on the honors program if you're interested in it. We've moved to early action and regular decision this year. So we've got different deadlines, as you'll see right here. We'll need your application by the 1st of November or the 15th of January. Your materials, which will be your student self-reported academic record, which is all your transcript information, on your test scores by the 15th or the 31st. And then you'll receive your decisions in January or in March. When it comes to our decisions, we do a holistic review. So we are both looking at academic and non-academic things. So my advice to students is on the non-academic stuff, please be specific and detailed, because we don't do letters of recommendation and we don't do interviews. So let us know what we need to know in your application. Lastly, I'd just like to say thanks, and make sure you connect with us if you have any questions. Thanks so much.
Wow. Well, thank you, Beth. That was absolutely wonderful. And families, again, if you do have any very specific questions, you can drop them in the chat. But we do want to try to make sure all of our representatives have a chance to present so that we can do kind of the question and answer session at the end. So now what I would like to do is go ahead and hand the reins over to Keturah Austin Heiken McClendon, who is our representative from FAM. So Keturah, if you're ready, we're ready.
Ma'am. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Keturah and I bring greetings from the Heights of Seven Hills in Tallahassee, Florida, the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Looks like it's stalling just a bit. So just giving you a little bit of facts about FAMU. We're in our 5th consecutive year as the #1 public HBCU, and we're the #3 overall. Okay, so at FAMU, we have 98-degree programs in 14 colleges and schools. Now, through this presentation, I won't be going through all of our colleges and schools, but I will be highlighting some of our academic degree-seeking programs. The first one is our FAMU FSU College of Engineering. This program is very unique in that it's the only in the nation. It's the only engineering program in the nation that has a partnership between the HBCU and the Research One University. So I like to say our students kind of get the best of both worlds. If they want that HBCU experience, historically Black colleges and universities, they're able to get that while also being connected to a Research One University. So we have our bachelor's degrees, we have our master's degrees, as well as our doctorate. So our students can come in and be a 3 times Rattler. So students students apply to FAMU. They take their prerequisites at FAMU, and then when it's time for them to take their core engineering courses, that they're at our College of Engineering that sits between Florida State and FAMU, taking classes with FSU students and FAMU students. Okay, we also have our College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, which is one of the top producers of Black pharmacists in the nation. So we have our bachelor's degrees in pharmaceutical sciences. Like engineering, our pharmaceutical science program is a limited access program. So that means that once students have met their 60-hour prerequisites, they then apply to the degree program. And once they get accepted, then they move on to the next level. And we also have it at the master's level in pharmaceutical. We also have master's programs in pharmaceutical sciences, environmental and occupational health, health policy management, behavioral sciences and health education, and epidemiology, and masters of public health, which is online, and our doctorate degrees in public health, pharmacy, as well as pharmaceutical sciences. And we also have a law school at FAMU. So our law school is not located in Tallahassee. It's actually located in Orlando. We do have a pre-law program that supports students who would like to sit for the LSAT in their law school applications as well. Okay, so these are admissions requirements. We require a minimum weighted core GPA of a 3.3. So the weighted core includes AP classes, IB classes, dual enroll classes. So if students are taking those, they're scored a little bit higher. We also encourage students to at least strive for a 3.5, just because our incoming freshman class for the 2024 academic school year had higher than a 3.8 average core GPA. And we're looking at these 18 academic units: English 4, Mathematics 4, Natural Sciences 3, Social Sciences 3, and Foreign Language 2. So students want to make sure that they're taking 2 years of a consecutive foreign language. So that's Spanish 1, Spanish 2, French 1, French 2. And then we're looking at those extra those additional core academic units. So electives, so we're not looking at PE, but students who take in psychology, sociology, those more rigorous courses we're including when we're weighing that core GPA. So we're also looking at the SAT, ACT, or CLT. We just started accepting the CLT for the 2024-25 academic school year. We super score, so we're looking at the sub scores, and we also super score. So for SAT, we're looking at the math 550, evidence-based reading and writing 530. So what I mean by super score is that if a student scored a 600 on their math and the evidence-based reading and writing is a 500, that we'll be looking for that evidence-based reading and writing score to increase as they take the SAT, but their math score can stay the same. If it goes below what they've already reported, we will still keep it at that highest score. And then for the ACT, the math, the 23, reading 22, English 19, and that CLT, quantitative reasoning 20, and verbal reasoning plus grammar writing 43. We also look for students to submit a 500-word essay. This is us a little bit more about the student. What are their academic goals? What are their career goals? And how can FAMU support them in achieving those? We require a $35 application fee. However, we also accept fee waivers. So that's a matter of students just connecting with their guidance counselors for those fee waivers. April 1st is our fall deadline. November 1st is our spring deadline, but it's also our early action deadline. So students who apply by November 1st will know by December whether they're admitted or not. And if they need to increase their scores, they will be given a decision to retake the test. So it's a great opportunity for students to kind of know where they stand. So if they need to retake any exams, they can take it by that April 1st deadline. And then March 1st is our summer deadline. Okay, so these are our 2024-2025 scholarship criteria. These scholarships are campus-wide. Okay, so I also encourage students that if they know what they want to major in, to also connect with the school or college that their major is under, because there may also be opportunities that are major specific, but these, what you see up here is university-wide. So as you can see, the lowest SAT we're looking for as far as university-wide scholarships are 1290 up to a 1490, and the ACT 27 up to a 34. And we have full ride opportunities as well as the different levels, with the GORE being 10,000, the Presidential Special Scholarship 6,000, and adopted high school, which if you would like to know if your school is one of the adopted high schools, you could go to famu.edu and just do a search of FAMU adopted high schools to see if your school may qualify for that as well. Okay, so we also have ROTC. This is a great opportunity for students who would like to possibly enlist, even get their tuition fully paid for. We have the Navy as well as the Army. Highly encourage students, if this is of interest to them, to make sure that they are first speaking with a recruitment officer, because it is a commitment after graduating, but it's a great opportunity if they would like to serve. Okay, so student life on campus. We have a very vibrant student life with more than 175 active student clubs and organizations. So we have student government as well as sororities and fraternities with the National Panhellenic Council, as well as different colleges and schools having their own fraternities and sororities. So there's always opportunities for students to engage and get involved. We have volunteer and internship opportunities, as well as campus recreation, intramural sports, student lounges, and we also have a salon and barbershop on campus. Since freshmen are required to be on campus their first year, we try to make sure that everything students need to be accommodated their first year on campus. And I always get this question of whether students can bring cars and what type of distance, and I try to explain to them that Florida State is less than 3 miles away from FAMU, so there are a lot of stores and restaurants in between to help students who would like to be accommodated in that way, whether they need to go grocery shopping or whether they just need to get other essential items for themselves. Okay, so we have A&M Athletics, also scholarship sports. So we're Division I, part of the SWAC. And then below you can see the different sports that we have scholarship opportunities in as well. Okay, for student housing. So we recognize that this will be a place where students live for the next 4 to 6 years of their life. We're currently developing new student housing that's being built right now. So we have traditional housing, which is Sampson Hall, which is an all-male dorm, as well as Young Hall, which is an all-female dorm. And we also have non-traditional options, the FAMU Towers, FAMU Village, Palmetto South, and Phase 3. And we also have living learning communities. As you can see here, the FAMU Towers has our living learning communities, which is a great opportunity for students who are in certain majors, such as engineering, nursing, pharmacy. That gives them the opportunity to stay with other students who are in their major as well. They have block scheduling, they could study together, and they also have social events as well. Okay, so we have our student resources. We have our career center. So every semester, FAMU hosts a career fair. So we always encourage our students to make sure that they visit the career center to have their resumes reviewed, if they want interviewing skills, and also looking at those job opportunities for those internships. We also have CDAR, Center for Disability Access and Resources. So students who may come in with the IEP or a 504, this is where they would go to self-disclose to make sure that they're accommodated for academic success. And these accommodations will follow them throughout their academic career as well. We also have international programs. So for students who are interested in studying abroad, they're able to do that. It just depends on what the student's major is, so where they would be able to go. But we always encourage students to study abroad. This is a great opportunity to meet other individuals, learn different skills that can transfer over into the workplace as well. Okay, so we highly encourage you to connect with us through our different social media tags. And I like to say our students not only know how to study hard, but they know how to play hard. And that can be seen on any of our social media tags. And you can always go to YouTube, look up Marching 100, or just look up just different set days, Friday on the set at FAMU to kind of see what the cultural vibe is on campus. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for having me, and I hope to see you on the Highs of Seven Hills in Tallahassee, Florida, so you can come strike with us.
Victoria, thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you being here and sharing all of that fabulous information. Right now, we're going to go ahead and go over. I know people were asking about UCF, so we want to make sure that we include our UCF representative. Please welcome Haley Wharton. And Haley, when you're ready, you can take the reins.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Haley Wharton. I am a Senior Assistant Director for Undergraduate Admissions. Really glad that I get the opportunity to speak with y'all tonight about UCF. I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation and get into it. Great. So UCF, as I'm sure a lot of you in Orange County are familiar, we are a large public research institution located in Orlando, Florida. We're well known as a best value education. We have not changed our cost of tuition in over 10 years, which is very exciting. About 72% of our students receive financial aid, and 68% of our students graduate 100% educational debt-free. We're also well known as one of the most innovative schools in the country, as well as a leader in social mobility. Something we're also very well known for is our size. We have an estimated enrollment of around 68,000 students, making us the largest institution in the state of Florida and one of the largest in the country as well. I think we're either number 2 or number 3 right now. And if you ask me, as far as UCF is concerned, I think bigger is definitely better. We have so many opportunities for our students, whether that is in the classroom with all the different majors that we offer. We have over 220 different degree programs, or if it's outside of the classroom. We have over 650 clubs and organizations that our students can join, ranging from pre-professional societies to faith-based organizations, academic groups and honor societies. We have Greek life, we have about 50 different sport clubs, and the list goes on. We also have a lot of co-op and internship opportunities for our students. I think that is a huge strength of UCF is how well connected we are to the Orlando and really Central Florida community. I usually say if you come to UCF and you can't get an internship, it's because you didn't apply. But yeah, I think that's just a great thing about our size and where we're located. One other thing I want to note is our average class size is 28 students. I think that is quite surprising to most folks, knowing the number I just mentioned, 68,000. We're a large school, but we pride ourselves in keeping our class size as small as possible. That way our students can benefit from a great teacher to student ratio. So that's a little bit about the university. Now we'll talk about admissions. So if you did not know, this year we have moved to an early action deadline. Essentially what that means is that students need to have their application in. These are students applying for our summer or fall. They need to apply no later than October 15th, have their materials received no later than November 1st, and they will be guaranteed some type of decision on November 15th. Those decisions could be an admit to one of our pathway programs, a defer for updated information such as test scores or updated Spark form with your grades, or a deny. Early action is only going to be available for students that are attending high school in the United States or a US territory and applying to the summer or fall, as I mentioned. You will also receive priority scholarship consideration if you meet this deadline, as November 1st is our priority deadline for our merit scholarships. And I promise I will touch on those in a bit. Please note this decision is non-binding. So if you do get admitted on November 15th, please know that you are not obligated to come to UCF, although I would love it if you did. You still have until May 1st to make your final decision, accept your offer of admission, and submit your $200 enrollment deposit. You also will be amongst the first students to receive access to the housing portal, as housing does not open their applications until students are admitted. You have to be an admitted student to apply for housing, and housing is going to be awarded first come, first serve. Students will be given an assigned housing portal day and time that it will open if they are admitted, or once they're admitted. And the first, of course, will be the students who do early action. So that's a little bit about early action, but you may be wondering if students can still apply after that. The answer is yes. So we call this regular decision, and it's very similar to our previous admissions model, which was rolling admissions. So any student who does not meet part of the early action deadlines, whether it's the October 15th or November 1st, or maybe both, they will be reviewed on a rolling admissions basis. The deadlines are at the top for summer, fall, and spring. With rolling admissions, we review applications in the order that we get them. I will tell you that we do not begin, or we do not anticipate beginning to release our rolling decisions until mid-January. So yet just another good reason to apply early action is, not having to wait until then to hear back. The options for decisions are the same, except for there is the added option of the wait list. We will start admitting students or putting students on a wait list as we get closer to the end of the spring term, usually sometime between February and March, as we assess our enrollment goals. Regular decision is going to be for any student, of course, attending a U.S., but also be open for students attending international high school. Our terms, that's going to be summer, fall, and spring included, and they will get access to the housing portal after they are admitted. Maybe wondering how to apply. I'll get into that now. The first step is the application itself. We have two different options for you. You can apply through the UCF institutional application found on our website or through the Common App. We don't have a preference or a favorite, but we do ask that you please submit just one. No need to do both. Sometimes when you submit two, it creates two records for you and things look a little funky on the operational side. And I don't want to delay anything, so just recommend you do just one. Once you submit your application, you'll be asked to pay a $30 application processing fee. Please know this can be waived. Get with your guidance counselor. If you do have a waiver, you can upload it with your application. And once you submit your application, whether it's Common App or the UCF app on our website, you will then have the chance to complete what we call the Spark form. So UCF is a little special in that we have our own self-reported grade form. Essentially, students will, instead of sending us a transcript, they will get a transcript for themselves. They're going to input all of their courses, course types, and grades. We will then take that information and recalculate their GPA, and that is the only GPA we're going to use to consider them for admission. When we do this recalculation, we focus only on academic core classes. So that's going to be defined as your English classes, your math, social science, natural science, and foreign language. And then we will weight each course individually based on what type of class it is, as we want to give you credit for those more rigorous courses you might have taken. If you've done anything that's considered honors class, pre-AP, pre-IB, or pre-ACE, you'll get an additional half point of weight added to that score. And if you do any college level courses such as AP, IB, ACE, or dual enrollment, you'll get an additional 1 point of weight added to that course. So therefore, those courses are on a 5-point scale, and the honors and those courses are on a 4.5 scale. Needless to say, the GPA we have and the GPA on your transcript will be very different, but just make sure you're double and triple checking your Spark form before you submit, so we have the most accurate and hopefully highest GPA for you possible. The last requirement for your application is going to be SAT, ACT, or CLT scores. We do not require all three, so don't think you have to, but it's your option. And similar to the different types of applications with these different exams, we don't have a favorite or preference, so do whichever one that you would like, or ones. We do super score, so we take the highest score from each section, even if they were not achieved on the same testing date. So my advice to you is whichever one or ones that you take, try them a couple of times. The last step for your application is optional. It's going to be our essay. I will say optional. I usually say wink, wink. I really recommend that you do the essay. It's a great way for you to tell us more about yourself and just kind of really fill in those gaps that we might not be getting just from looking at your grades and your test scores. On the Common App, it'll be the supplemental UCF questions. You'll have the option of answering 2 prompts. On the UCF institutional application, it will be an optional upload. And it's the same prompts. We just ask that you reply to one of them. All right, so now we'll talk about our admitted freshman class profile. I want to draw your attention to the middle of the screen. These are our mid-ranges. These mid-ranges represent the middle 50% of our freshman class and about where they're ranging in their academic credentials. So it's important to note that is the middle 50. So 25% of our students were below these numbers and 25% were above, and they were all offered admission to UCF. So I don't want you to see these mid-ranges and think that they are a minimum or a requirement, as they are not. They're more so a goal of what you want to aim for to be competitive and have your application stand out. Yes, that is a weighted GPA of a 4.1 to a 4.5, and again, recalculated based on core. SAT, ACT, and CLT can all be super scored. If you are looking to be competitive for a merit scholarship, you want to be at the higher end of these mid-ranges. Typically, students need to be exceeding our averages at a minimum to be competitive for a merit scholarship. Just a reminder with that, the priority deadline is November 1st. Just some fun facts to also share about our freshman class is that more than half of the admitted students were in the top 10% of their senior class, and 70% of admitted students had all A's and B's in their high school courses. All right, now we'll talk about my favorite part, scholarships, AKA free money. So for my freshman students, there is no additional application that you need to complete to get considered for a scholarship. You just need to apply to UCF by November 1st and have all your materials in by that date. Please know, if you send your SAT score to us on October 31st, we will not have it on November 1st. So please give us some time to receive that and process it, and just keep that in mind with this deadline. The awards will be really based on your academic credentials and meeting that deadline, as students who apply after November 1st may qualify, but there's no guarantee that we will have funding available after our first round of consideration. These awards, they range from $6,000 all the way up to $42,000 to help you pay for your bachelor's degree. And they will stick with you all 4 years as long as you meet the renewal requirements. They are quite competitive. I do want to say not every student who is exceeding our average gets one of these scholarships, so please apply early. Only about 25% of our incoming freshmen are awarded scholarships. We do have a lovely website with this information as well. It's going to be the link right there at the bottom. All right. Kind of going to go through our timeline and some reminders for you guys. So remember, you want to do everything as early as you possibly can. August to September is the best time to apply, submit your fee or fee waiver, do your Spark form. Spark form does take time, so please, again, would not wait until October 31st to start working on that. And send us all of your test scores. What we will do is we take the highest and best of whatever exam or exams that you've taken. So if you send us all of your scores and there's some that you don't really like, they're a little bit lower, we will not worry about them if we have something hard to replace it with. And similar, if you have two different tests where maybe you took ACT and SAT, but you did a lot better on the ACT, we're just going to focus on that. We're not going to fault you for that lower SAT score. And it's a myth that we care if you've taken the exam a lot of times. I actually really like to see a student that is really trying to get the highest score they can get. So don't let that stop you either. Research scholarships, in addition to what we offer at UCF, so you're prepared for that. We offer amazing night for a day open houses. I'm sure some of you have attended. Our next one is coming up September 21st. So please visit our website to register for that. But we have one in September, October, November, and we have one in January for prospective students. October to December is the best time to submit your FAFSA once it's available. And apply for housing as soon as you can. Please know if you do have another school in mind or other schools in mind. Once you hear back from us, if you do get admitted, it's a good idea to apply for housing. Your preference will be held. And then you have until May 1st to cancel that, and you'll get over half of your housing deposit back. January to April is a good time if you want to update your Spark form with your first semester senior year grades. If you get admitted, we also offer open house events for admitted students. And then start making your final decision if you haven't already. The last day to commit to UCF and submit your $200 enrollment deposit is May 1st. Also, you want to sign up for orientation as early as you can, but that's a conversation for later. Just some reminders at the bottom. And if you do need more information, there's a lot of ways to find it. Our website has everything I've gone through with y'all today. I also have our phone number on there, our email. I do recommend emailing over calling. We do have a live chat available on our website as well. So it's a real human being, a real person who's trained from our office that can help you. And we do have admissions counselors available on a walk-in basis at the Duke Energy UCF Welcome Center, which is the building, the picture right here, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you're local, stop in, talk with one of us. We'd be happy to help. And we also have virtual offerings available. Anyone who's applied yet, good for you. I'm so glad to hear that. Any updates on your application will be on the Future Night portal, that link where it says status check. Alrighty, thank you guys so much for your time and attention. I really appreciate it. I am going to end my show and hand it back over to Victoria.
Well, thank you so much. I also wanted to just let you know, someone did have a very specific question. They were asking that what happens if they apply early and then get denied? Can they reapply later to UCF?
Great question. So essentially, any student who is denied, especially earlier on in the process, what we would ask them to do is to submit updated information, whether that's updated Spark form or updated test scores, or just new information that we didn't have at the time that we reviewed them, and we can reconsider them. Every time we get new information, we're willing to do that. You don't have to do a new application. You would just want to make sure you alert us that you sent these materials, and we'll kind of send everything back to the committee for another review. Early on in the year, we try to not deny too many students because we know a lot of students do have more exams that they're taking, as well as, their first semester's worth of classes. So we try to give them every chance to get that in before making that decision. But worst case scenario, if that does happen, yes, we will reconsider a student.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate all that information and your time. And now, everyone, I know our families are highly invested. We've been getting a lot of information. Oh, before I let you go, they are asking if has Top 10 Nights been discontinued?
That's correct. Yes. Effective last year, we have stopped doing the Top 10 Nights. initiative. We still do look at class rank, so it's still a great thing for students to report on their Spark form, but we are not doing the same kind of guaranteed admission that we had before.
Okay. I also want to make sure that we keep moving. So families, I do appreciate, I am keeping track of questions that come in so that we can pose those questions to all of our universities and you can hear each of their answers as it pertains to what you're curious about. Right now, we're going to head over to Florida State University and Courtney Wood, who's the Assistant Director for First Year Applications. So Courtney, we're going to let you take it away.
Thank you, Victoria. I cannot talk. I'm so sorry. Good
Oh.
evening, everyone. Let me go ahead and get my presentation up. Ready. Once again, good evening, everyone. My name is Courtney Wood. I am the new Assistant Director for First Year Applications. I'm super excited to be able to talk to everybody tonight and give you some more information about just the university in general, and then some information about our admissions process and some deadlines and things to look forward to coming up pretty soon. So talking a little bit about the university. Just a little bit of information about the university itself. We actually are one of Florida's preeminent research universities. There are a couple of us in here, and we are very proud to say that we have a large proponent of research universities here in the state of Florida. So you have quite a bit of people or quite a bit of universities to take a look at when it comes to research opportunities. But specifically for Florida State, we do have an undergraduate population of just over 32,000 students, which allows us to have a pretty good 17-to-1 student to faculty ratio that we're very proud of here. We also have a couple other facts, including the idea that a large majority of our students who graduate from Florida State are able to graduate in less than 4 years, or in 4 years. We actually have one of the highest graduation rates in the nation, and we're really proud of that. And we actually have one of the higher rates when it comes to undergraduate students completing research in their undergraduate degree, and that is a 1-in-4 ratio right there. So when we're talking about just possibilities here at Florida State University, we have quite a number of majors and degree programs. We actually have over 280 currently, and we are consistently growing. When it comes to all of the programs that we have here at Florida State, we have a lot of your normal programs, including things like psychology, biology, all the fun ones. But we also have a couple of really niche programs, including all of our engineering programs that we do share with the college engineering that we have in combination with Florida A&M. It's a very special program that we like to highlight. Like Florida A&M said, we are one of the only colleges in the nation that has a combined campus of that caliber. So it's really, really cool. I always recommend, especially if you are highly considering attending Florida State, take a look at our academic program guide. This academic program guide is going to be kind of your one-stop shop for all the programs that we have here at Florida State. Like I said, we have over 280 of them, so there's quite a lot to look at. So just take a look at the possible majors that you're interested in. While we're talking about majors themselves, when you are filling out the application, you do have to select a major that you would like to be interested in or start here at Florida State. But when it comes to your application itself, your major is not a factor in your admissions decision. So we actually allow students to apply as exploratory majors, which is kind of like undecided plus. So we allow students to choose exploratory as their major. That gives them dedicated advisors and workshops to kind of help them discover what their passions are before they have to declare a major. So as said earlier, you are going to be changing your mind quite a lot, and don't be scared to take a look into the different opportunities that are available to you. Talking a little bit about just the environment on campus. We do have quite a variety of options when it comes to dining here on campus. We have over 30 separate dining locations, including 2 separate dining halls. And we also include a number of dining plans as well. They include commuter plans, full force plans when it comes to students who are living on campus and eating on campus. And we do have quite a number of options for students who have allergies or food afflictions in that way. Highly recommend checking out our dining website. They do such a great job explaining the different options and availabilities that we have here at Florida State, but we have something for everyone. talking about living on campus, we have quite a large population of students who try to live on campus. We actually have 18 separate residence halls, and we also do have living learning communities that are available here for our students. Those living learning communities are communities that are based in specific residence halls that are either major or topic focused. And students are able to apply to living learning communities once they are accepted to Florida State University and fill out their housing applications. I always like to say that living learning communities allow students to have built-in friends for their first year here at Florida State University because you have typically similar interests and similar majors. Always recommend taking a look into those as well. But when we're talking about residence halls themselves, most of our residence halls are going to be that suite style where you do share a room with a roommate, and then typically you do share a bathroom with another room. We don't have communal bathrooms here at Florida State University, which is a big win for a lot of students. You don't have to worry about one bathroom for an entire floor. Alrighty. When we're looking at how the value at Florida State is kind of presented, we do have a commitment to make sure that education is as affordable and accessible as possible. So just recently, we have been ranked #1 in the state of Florida as the best value public college here in the state of Florida, and that's something that we take very seriously here. Along with the other universities that you've already heard spoke about today, we also have not raised our tuition rate in over 10 years, and that's something that we're very proud of. Another fact that we like to just highlight is a large majority of students that attend Florida State will receive some sort of aid that's not necessarily a loan, whether that's additional scholarship funding or private funding that they have coming in, or grants that are available through our Office of Financial Aid. A large majority of students who are going to be able to graduate from Florida State are going to be able to graduate with little to no student debt, something that's kind of unheard of in this day and age. Now, when we're talking about scholarship opportunities, we do have quite a bit of merit scholarships here at Florida State University. They are automatic considerations, so you do not have to fill out a separate application when you are looking to be considered for the scholarships themselves. They are automatic consideration. They are merit-based, so we do take a look at your test scores, your GPAs, as well as your transcripts to be able to award them. Now, the eligibility criteria for our merit scholarships can and does change year to year. It is based off of our applicant pool, so we don't have published eligibility criteria. But just to kind of give you an idea, it is going to be typically on the higher end of our admitted profile, and we'll go over that in just a second. I always like to say that Tallahassee is going to be home for just about anybody that comes and visits. One of the first things that we always hear when students come on campus to visit is that it just feels like home. I always recommend students coming and touring whenever they're able, typically within that sophomore to junior summer. But there's always just so much to see and do. Tallahassee may not be the biggest city with the university on this presentation, but we do have quite a lot to give to our students, including lively athletics, a lively student life, including over 700 active student organizations, recreational spaces, including our own lakefront reservation that is free to Florida State students, lots of green space, access to state parks that are local to the area, and we are actually only an hour away from the Gulf Coast, which a lot of people don't recognize. Okay, so now we know a little bit about the university. Let's talk about admissions itself. So when we're looking at admissions itself, Florida State University does use a holistic review process. It is holistic and selective, where no single criterion is going to guarantee admission to the university. We are using our process that is centered on our 3 institutional core values, which is our Latin motto that you will hear over and over again, Vires Artes Mores, and that does translate to strength, skill, character. So we're looking at our applications, we are evaluating them based on these 3 categories. When we're looking at your Vires Torch, which is going to be your strength, we're looking at your academic performance. So we're going to take a look at your transcripts, your GPA, the course rigor, your test scores, your high school profile, things of that nature. We're looking to get an idea of what kind of student you were in the classroom setting. When we're looking at your ARTAs, we're looking at your skill, which is going to be your resume. So it's going to be academic and non-academic involvement. We want to see an idea of how you use your time outside of the classroom. So clubs, organizations, volunteer opportunities, sports that we played, responsibilities that we had with family, employment that we had, things of that nature. We like to take a look at a large variety of things on the resume itself, but we also like to take a look at genuine involvement with those activities as well. And then last but certainly not least is going to be the mores, which is going to be the character piece. And this is going to be the piece of who you are as a person. So a big part of that is going to be that essay along with that resume to give us some context of what kind of person you are in the context of your high school and neighborhood opportunities. I always like to say that essay is one true time that you get to use your own voice on the application. So we like to get an idea of who you are in your own words. Now, when we're talking about how we actually look at the applications, like I said, we do use that holistic review. So no one single criterion is going to guarantee admission to the university. But we do still like to provide our administrative profile so students have an idea of what we're looking at to be a competitive applicant. So when we're looking at our administrative profile, this is the middle 50% of the students that we accepted for fall and for summer of last year. So that's the middle 50%. So 25% of our accepted students had higher GPAs and test scores and 25% had lower. These are not requirements. These are ranges to shoot for to be as competitive as possible. That is your FSU recalculated core GPA. So we do recalculate your GPA on a 4.0 scale, and we give you additional weight for academically rigorous courses. So if we're taking any of those honors, pre-AP, pre-IB, pre-ACE classes, you're going to get an additional half point of weight for each one of those classes. And if you're taking any of that dual enrollment AP, IB, ACE courses, you're going to get an additional full point of weight. And that's how we get in between that 4.0 and that 5.0. These are your super scores. We do super score for you. So we always like to say, send us all of your scores and sit as many times as you'd like to make yourself as competitive as possible. We don't care about your lowest test scores. We don't look at those. We only look at your highest subject scores to make your super score. Now, we don't actively have a CLT range because we did not get enough data last year with the CLT to have an active CLT range, but we do anticipate that changing the next couple of years. Alrighty, so now that we kind of know what to look forward to in the process itself, let's talk about like the application itself and when to get ready for it. So obviously step one is going to be applying to the university. Our applications are typically opening up around August 1st of your senior year. And if you've already completed the application, awesome, way to go. I know it's a big first hurdle, but I promise you it only gets easier from there. You can apply using the Common App or using our FSU institutional application. We do not have a preference. Please use whichever application you feel most comfortable with, but we do just ask that you use only one application. If you submit more than one application, it can cause some confusion on the back end, and we may have to pay more than one application fee, and we don't want to do that if we don't have to. We do have a $35 application fee with Common App and a $30 application fee with the FSU institutional application, but that application fee can be waived with waivers. If you are going to be somebody who's going to be using a waiver, there is a series of questions on the application that we will be able to get that answer about the waiver on the application itself. Now, this is a big change from the last couple of years. We are going back to automatic consideration for all of the terms and decisions. So we do ask students to select their preferred term of entry, whether that be fall or summer. And we also ask students to select which programs and decisions they would like to be considered for. That includes our Seminole Pathway programs and our Seminole Next program, our FSU Next program. Now, there is an option to opt out of these as well on the application. So if you are not interested in any of those and you just want to be considered for that one term, you do have the option to select that as well. But we are moving back to automatic consideration of all of our applicants. I know it sounds a little bit silly to say it like this, but please make sure you submit your application. We've seen students get all the way to the end of the application cycle and not submit their application. And unfortunately, we can't do a lot to help you at that point. And that's what we want to do. We want to help you as much as possible. Alrighty, once we have submitted our application and the university has received it, you will receive access to your application status check page. So this is going to be your portal for all things FSU admissions once you've submitted your application. This is where you're going to be taking a look at your application checklist, as well as any additional information or additional supplemental applications that you may have if you applied to a special program. Those are going to be things like our college of music, college of dance, fine arts. If you're applying to the honors program, if you're applying to our Care Summer Bridge program, things like that. This will all be here on that application status check. Another piece of advice is we highly recommend that you use an email address that is not tied to your high school, because often you will lose access to that email address after you graduate. And we always make the joke that we don't know what kind of firewalls these schools have, but they are impenetrable, and we often can't get our emails to you. So just use a personal email address so that we can get you our information. Email is a really important method of communication for us. You want to make sure that we're being able to communicate back and forth. Now, your application checklist has everything that we need to be able to consider your application complete. Those checklist items may vary student to student, but there's a couple of things that are going to be the same on pretty much everyone's application. That's going to be the self-reported academic record, or the SSAR, self-reported test scores, your first year resume or your list of activities, and that first year essay. Now let's talk a little bit about deadlines, and I promise you we're almost there. Since we have move back to automatic consideration, we wanted to make sure that we made our deadlines as clear and concise as possible. So we do have 3 separate cohorts, but my biggest piece of advice for Florida State University is to complete your application early. We do have early action and regular decision, but we release the majority of our decisions between those 2 cohorts. So give yourself the best chance to be as competitive as possible. Early action is just going to be for our Florida students only. That first deadline is going to be October 15th. We do allow you to submit additional test scores until December 1st, as long as you've provided that first test score by October 15th, and we will release those decisions on December 12th. Regular decision is going to be for all of our students, in-state, out-of-state, international. December 1st is going to be our regular decision cohort deadline. This is also our priority consideration deadline for scholarships. So if you are looking to be considered for scholarships, please make sure you have the application completed by December 1st. We do allow you to continue to submit test scores until January 1st, as long as you provided that first test score on December 1st, and we'll release those decisions on February 13th. We do still allow students to apply during our rolling decision cohort, but the deadline for both the deadline for the application submission and materials is going to be that first week of March, and we begin releasing those decisions on a rolling basis in early April. Now, we obviously understand that this is not going to answer all of your questions, and that's why we are here. I always like to say that admissions doesn't need to be scary and it doesn't need to be mystery. We are here to answer any questions that you have. We highly recommend you take the trek up to Tallahassee. I know it's a little bit of a drive. It's about 4 hours away from Orlando, but we would love to host you and give you all the ins and outs about everything that FSU has to offer. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Excuse me, Courtney. I must be contagious. I'm now losing my voice. So thank you so much. I do have just a couple questions that were specific to FSU. Someone was asking, were the changes to the Pathways program this year, were there changes? And do you have to apply for this up front?
So there are no specific changes to the Pathway program other than us renaming our Seminole spring transfer program. We have renamed that to FSU Next. Other than that, there are really no changes to our Pathway program.
And then they were asking, if you are deferred, is this when you apply for Pathways?
So with automatic consideration, you do have the option to go ahead and be considered for Pathway programs when you are initially applying. But if you are deferred, you also get an option at that time to go ahead and let us know and reiterate what options you'd like to be considered for.
And then someone was asking if there's an advantage to applying by October 1st versus October 15th.
Do you mean December 1st by October 15th?
I think that's what they meant.
Okay, so early action is going to be just for our Florida students only. So they are able to go ahead and get their application in and they get a decision before the university goes on holiday break. But anyone can apply for regular decision. So there's no advantage when it comes to the actual evaluation for the admissions process itself. We evaluate early action and regular decision the exact same way. The only advantage is that they get that admissions decision a little bit earlier.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate all that wonderful information, and we have quite a few more schools to get through. So, Courtney, thank you. We are now going to hand the reins over to Emma Hansen with the University of North Florida. So, Emma, I know you've been patient. Please take it away.
Well, thank you so much. I'll just go ahead and share the presentation. Give me one moment. All right. Well, as they introduced me, my name is Emma Hansen. I'm one of our admissions recruiters from the University of North Florida. Thank you so much for being here this evening. If you're not familiar with the University of North Florida, we are located up in Jacksonville. So we are about 2.5 hours away. Yeah, in Jacksonville, we are very central. We do, we're about 15 minutes from the beach.
Whoops, Emma, I have you going in and out. The audio is going in and out.
Able to hear me better this way?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'll just try to speak a little closer to my computer. I'm so sorry about that. So we are located again 15 minutes from the beach and 20 minutes from downtown Jacksonville. We do have about 17,000 students on our campus with a 19-to-1 student faculty ratio. Our average class size is about 35 students when you do enter your major classes. We have about 5 of our colleges on campus. That includes our Houghton College of Business, College of Arts, College of Computing, Engineering, and Construction, and our
It's
within these
going out and I'm so sorry. It's going in and out again, Emma. And I know this is great information.
libraries. Would you like to come back to me then, just so I can get my audio figured out? I'm so sorry about that.
Sure, sure, absolutely. Let's go ahead then. We'll give Emma a few minutes and we can certainly move to Diego Arriaga, who's the admissions counselor from Florida Polytechnic. Diego, can you go ahead and jump in?
Sure thing. It's a good thing I didn't go use the restroom. All right. Can you guys all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay, perfect. So, hello everybody. My name is Diego. I am an admissions counselor at Florida Polytechnic University. I am very excited to share with you guys a little bit about my institution. On the left-hand side, you're going to notice that there's a QR code that if you scan, you would be able to request more information, and an admissions counselor will reach out to you in the upcoming days to help answer any questions that you guys may have. And if you guys don't want to scan the QR code just yet, you want to learn a little bit more about Florida Poly, this will return at the end of my presentation. We have counselors that can reach out in Spanish if you guys would like to go ahead and get information in your own language. But to get us started, I wanted to start off by showing a graphic of where we are located in relation to the other state universities here in Florida. I like to say that we are the most centrally located state university. We're right in the heart of Florida, right nestled between Tampa and Orlando in Lakeland, Florida. And here is a solo view of where we're located. I also wanted to go ahead and show a little bit of the highlights of our institution. Although we are in the same family as the other public state universities, we do have a few key differences. One of the differences is that we are 100% STEM. So all of our programs fall under the umbrella of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We do also have a small 17-to-1 student to faculty ratio, and add in there that we don't have any teaching assistants here in our campus. So that means that all of your classes are going to be taught by the professors themselves. All of our professors also have office hours. So if your student has any questions outside of the classroom, there will always be a time slot during the week where they can go ahead and visit those professors outside of the classroom. We do also have an average class size of about 20 to 25 students, and this number gets smaller as you progress in your major core. So once you get into those engineering courses in your second semester, you're going to notice that those classes are going to get a little bit slimmer because we do understand that engineering is a difficult topic. So we do go ahead and make some changes to make it more personalized for your students. And I do also like to point out that we're the newest state university in the system. We were founded in 2014. So that means that we're only about 10 years old. But in those 10 years, we've done a lot of great stuff. And one of the perks that comes with having a new university is that everything's new, from the buildings to the dorms to everything. Our residence halls, I like to say that they are pretty state of the art because they're not traditional dorm style. They're more like an apartment unit. But let's go ahead and move forward. I wanted to share a little bit about our undergraduate programs and concentrations. So we have some of your big hitters, some of them like your computer science program, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. But you'll also notice that under some of these programs, there's going to be some subsections. So at Florida Poly, we do not have any minors. We have what we call concentrations. So just to give you an example, if you come to Florida Poly for mechanical engineering, you can go ahead and concentrate or specialize in aerospace, automotive, energy, materials and advanced manufacturing, operations research, robotics, and simulation. And it's the same for other programs to study. There's going to be concentrations or specializations that you can dive into in your third and fourth year to get that specialization under your major. Now, what's really good about Florida Poly is that we do also have something called advanced topics. So for example, let's say that you are an electrical engineer and you would like to get some exposure to computer science. At Florida Poly, you can do that. So that means that you'll graduate as an electrical engineer, but you can get some additional skills under a different program of study so that you graduate with the skill set that you would like. Now, at Florida Poly, I like to say that we have three pillars. We have exploration, creation, and implementation. So at Florida Poly, you don't have to wait till your second or third year to jump into those engineering, those computer science courses. Within your first year, you'll be diving into that major core. Another really great thing is that we have a design sequence for every single program of study. So regardless of which semester you're in, 1 to the day that you graduate, you will be doing projects. Those projects start off pretty small. They'll be housed within your classroom. But as you progress into your second and third year, those projects will take into partnerships with actual companies that have actual problems that our students will go ahead and help resolve. And if your student is involved in any extra credit courses like advanced placement, dual enrollment, ACE, IB, or CLEP, they can definitely go ahead and transfer those over. And one of the classes that we look for primarily at Florida Poly, since we're an engineering and a computer science school, is going to be those calculus. So if your student is in AP Pre-Calc, Calc AB, if your student is in Chem, if your student is in Physics, that will all be transferred over and they can start checking off those classes right off the bat. Now, as I mentioned, we are a very hands-on school. We do go ahead and push a lot of collaboration work. The biggest project that your students will be working on here at Florida Poly is what we call the Senior Capstone Project. Now, this is something that is not new. We didn't pioneer it. It happens at a lot of different schools. But what makes it special here at Florida Poly is that every single student has to do it and that every single Senior Capstone Project is industry sponsored. So what this basically means is that companies come to us and they say, hey, we have a problem, and we get a group of students to work with this company for about 1 year to provide a solution to this problem. And the types of projects that our students are working on, they're not dull, they're not boring, they're very relevant to what they want to do in their industry and what they want to do as far as their career. So for example, just to give you a small example, we had a company that is aligned with the cruise ships, and they basically wanted a way for these cruise ships to be clean while they were docked at bay. So they went ahead and spoke with our students, and they wanted something that could go ahead and clean those ships. And our students basically designed a magnetic robot that had a component that could power wash these ships while it was docked at bay, and that robot would go up and down the hull of the ship using pressure washing and magnets so that it didn't fall off, so that it can clean it. We've also had students working with the Space Institute to provide feedback on the Mars rovers. We've had students working with defense companies aligned with the US military to provide tracking systems for drones, and the list goes on and on and on. And if you guys would like to learn a little bit more about these capstone projects, we're very transparent and they're on our webpage, and you guys can read more about them. And all in all of this is done so that our students are marketable once they graduate Florida Poly. I forgot to mention that 100% of our students are required to have an internship opportunity before they graduate. Add that to the capstone project, and then there's also plenty of research opportunities on campus at the undergraduate level. So all of this put together basically means that your students are going to be very marketable. Within a 90-day graduation period, 75% of our students are able to find a job, but not just any job. They're able to find a job in the field that they graduated in. And the other 25%, there's a good portion of those students that go ahead and continue into graduate work. We are a full state university, so we do have graduate programs for those students that want to continue their education after their bachelor's. Now, as I mentioned, we are a newer state university. We're only about 10 years old, so that means that we are still in full growth. If you visited our campus within the last 2-3 years and you come back again, you'll notice that it looks very different. And right now, we just finished our last residence hall. We have 2 more buildings, research centers that are just about done, and we also broke ground into our 3rd engineering building, and then we have a student center that's also going to get started up pretty soon. So when you go on campus, you'll notice that there's quite a few construction, and that's because we are growing. But one thing that I like to tell everybody is that we're growing with a purpose. When it comes to our student population, every year we do increment our student population, but not by much. And this is all done because we never want to go ahead and let go of those values of being a small STEM institution. And all thus far, all I've been talking about has been the academics, but I did want to touch briefly on what happens outside of the classroom. So we are a full state university with university teams, student organization, intramural sports. And I like to say that there's a little bit of something for everybody here at Florida Poly. We are very student forward. So if there's a program or if there's a club, if there's a university team that's not here at the moment, we're very full of student support. So as students come to our campus and they say, hey, we want this, we're more than happy to give the funding and the resources to go ahead and get started on that. We do currently have 3 full residence halls, and there's in the works for a 4th one, and that should be breaking ground within the next year. Residential living here at Florida Poly is first come, first serve. So once you get your admissions letter, you're able to go ahead and get started on that housing application. Housing is not mandatory for any students. It's 100% your choice. If you live within a commutable distance, you're able to put in that application, or if you want to live off campus, that's perfectly fine. And like I mentioned before, it is very apartment style. So that means that every unit has its own bathroom, its own washer, its own dryer. And it really just depends on how you want to go ahead and live here at Florida Poly. We have different types of suites. We have some with full kitchens. We have some that are a little bit more smaller. We have some that have a full living room area. So it really depends. And like I said, first come, first serve. So if you want to get some of the top tier rooms, you just want to apply earlier on. And to go over that applying, I did want to go over some of the deadlines. The application for the current seniors started August 1st, and the early action is going to be November 15th. The biggest difference is just going to be the scholarship opportunities. If you apply between now and November 15th, you'll be in the run for some of the bigger scholarship packages that we have here at Florida Poly. If you apply after November 15th, you can still get into school. You can still get financial aid. It's just that that financial aid might be a little bit slimmer. And what I like to say is that we have a no hassle decision. So if you apply now and you get your decision in early November, we'll still give you until May 1st to make that decision. And we will honor whichever financial aid package we gave you when we gave you that decision letter. Our application is very streamlined. It's the application itself, which you can do on the Common App, or you can do it on our own website. You can go ahead and submit unofficial high school transcripts or the SSAR. You can submit unofficial test scores, and then you pay that application fee, or if you're selecting a waiver, you send that documentation and your application will be done. Now, I'm going a little bit quicker because I know that I'm about 1 or 2 minutes above the time, but I did briefly want to go over financial aid information. These are some of the financial aid scholarship packages that you get at Florida Poly. Florida Poly, every single student that comes in through the door gets some type of merit scholarship. So that is really going to depend on some of the academic benchmarks, but also the timing. You want to go ahead and apply earlier on so that you're in the runs for some of these financial aid packages. To go over some costs, Florida Poly is pretty in line with the other state universities. Our in-state tuition hasn't changed since we started here, and it is right under $5,000. The most expensive part at Florida Poly is going to be that room and board. It's right under $13,000, but that $13,000 includes the meal plan. So if you're coming to Florida Poly with that room and board, your students are going to have a full belly. Once you add everything up, it's going to be right under $20,000 at $19,000 for a year. And this is going to be full-time, fall and spring. And like I said, every single student gets some type of merit scholarship here at Florida Poly. If you add in Bright Futures, Florida Prepaid, any state grants, there's not a single student that's going to be paying anywhere near that dollar amount. And to finish this off, I wanted to return to the beginning. If you guys would like to get any information from a counselor, go ahead and scan that QR code. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, it's going to say request information, and someone will be reaching out in the next few days. Now, I know that there is quite a few Spanish speaking people here on the line. If you guys would like more information about Florida Poly, yo mismo hablo español. I have a few coworkers that speak Spanish, and we can go ahead and help you guys out as well. Thank you.
Diego, thank you so much. I do have some very specific questions for you, so I do want to get those out of the way. So Jordan was asking if Florida Polytechnic offers a neuroscience major.
At the current moment, we do not.
Okay. And then Edwin wanted to know, is this the same poly as in Puerto Rico?
No, no, no. We get that a lot, but we are not affiliated with the Polytechnic University of Puerto Rico.
Okay. And then can students transfer credits from Valencia College to Poly?
Definitely. We do actually get a very large amount of students from Valencia. So go ahead, apply, send over your unofficial transcripts, and our registrar's office can do an evaluation before you start here at Florida Poly so that we can give you information on what will transfer over.
Perfect. And then the last question is going to be, since students move directly into their major courses, is there a shorter completion time? For example, graduation in 2 to 3 years versus 4 to 5?
No, unfortunately not. We do have general education components a little bit more reduced than a bachelor's in arts, but that general education component is replaced with your physics, your chemistry. So the target time for graduation is still going to be 4 years. The only time that it will change is if, let's say, you were doing dual enrollment and you garnered, let's say, a good amount of general education, then we can cut it down. But don't think that it's going to be 2 years. It's going to be probably at that 3.5 year mark.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Diego. And again, I told you I have a very good friend whose son graduated from Poly and absolutely loved it. So we appreciate you being here. I do want to check back with Emma and make sure, Emma, if you are, I know you switched over to your other computer. Are you comfortable to go, or do you want a few more minutes?
I believe I'm all set. I'm hoping you can hear me a lot better now.
Yes, it sounds night and day. So
Okay,
thank you so much.
perfect.
So
Yes.
welcome Emma Hansen from the University of North Florida.
Thank you. Give me one moment. It is being restricting me, and I think it's my laptop. I'm so, so, so sorry. Give me one more moment. I'm so sorry. I'm just adding it right now. While I am doing this, I'll just go ahead and rephrase University of North Florida. Again, we are located in Jacksonville, so we are about 2.5 hours north of the Orlando area. If you do actually want to go ahead and come back to me, it's not letting me share my screen. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
We love technology.
Sure. Not a problem. I'm going to go ahead. We'll give you a minute, and then I'll go over to Mitch Bacinelli, who is with Florida Atlantic University. And let me just go ahead and make sure Mitch is in a position to share his screen. Mitch, you've been so patient. Whenever you're ready, we're going to hand off to you.
Hi, everybody. I am ready. So let me share real quick. Here we go. All right. So there we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to my dining room, which is in Boca Raton, Florida, right where our university is. So I am representing Florida Atlantic University today. We are a school of about 31,000 students located in Boca Raton, Florida. We have over 170 different degree programs with, hold on, let me scroll, there we go. And over 208,000 alumni. We are a growing community. We've been around for a while, but you probably know somebody who's been to FAU and can tell you all about how great of a time they've had here. One thing that we really love about FAU is that it's actually an extraordinarily diverse institution. In that 31,000 people, you get people from everywhere. We really reflect our South Florida community in that we are a Hispanic serving institution. We're a top 20 degree producer of African American graduates, and 24% of our school is actually composed of first generation students. Okay, we are really proud to be such an accessible school that is able to really provide an environment of success for all kinds of students. A lot of that really starts with our Student Success Network. Any student that comes to FAU immediately is given access to their Student Success Network. These are 4 people whose entire jobs it is to make sure that you're able to be as successful as possible no matter what is going on, no matter what major you're looking at. So usually this starts with your financial aid officer. Your financial aid officer is a person whose entire job is to make sure that you're able to afford your education. They are there to help you with understanding what kinds of scholarships are available for you, how to apply to those scholarships, what kinds of loans you might work, how to balance out all the different types of aid that you can receive between loans, between scholarships. If you want to do federal work study, you can do that as well. You have somebody dedicated to understanding your situation, how to afford your education, and how to come out of FAU as debt-free as possible. Okay. After that, we have a career counselor. This is somebody who is there to help you with anything related to getting a job after college, whether it's learning about internship opportunities and understanding what fields you can work in within your job, whether it's actually learning the tools to apply to jobs and how to interview. Even if you just need to get dressed, they have an entire closet full of professional clothing that you can wear. They're totally free. You just go in there, find a jacket or whatever that fits you. You take that. That is your piece of clothing now, so you can make sure that you are dressed well for all of your interviews. Now, all of this really starts though with your classes. You got to make sure you're taking classes in your major and progressing through your major in order to, ultimately get your degree and get those jobs. And that is the job of your academic advisor. Your academic advisor is there to help you pick your classes, of course, help you understand what your major means and what it entails and how you progress through your major. But they're also there to help connect you to all of the variety of other support services available on campus. Your Student Success Network is not the end all of your support. They are the beginning point to get you connected to all of the various resources on campus. Okay. And lastly, we have the library liaison. One thing that we take a lot of pride in is our access to research. We are a pretty phenomenal research university, and we offer research opportunities from day one to our students. But in order to do research, you need access to some good research materials, and your library liaison is there to make sure that you know how to use all of the various databases and resources on campus. At base level, they'll help you find a book. If you're like, I'm looking for this book for my paper that I'm writing on, I don't know, physics, to help you find that book. But if you need some more detailed instruction, or you want access to things like our various collections of rare books or collections of historical materials, your library liaison is the person who's going to connect you to everything that is available through our library system. Okay. And like I said, this is just the start. These are the people that if you don't know where to go, you go here first. Okay. You need to know something about money, go to your financial aid advisor. They'll even help you understanding financial literacy and how to be financially responsible. You want to know about career opportunities and what you need to do to get a job, career counselor. You want to know about your classes or getting help with tutoring, academic advisor. You want to know something about research, your library liaison. It's important to note as well that all of these extend through all of our colleges. We talk about the terms college and university as if they're the same thing, but they're a little bit different. At FAU, you have the one university, Florida Atlantic University, but you have various colleges, 10 colleges within the university that serve like little departments or little communities where you will study your majors and advance through your academic career. When you apply to Florida Atlantic, you are also applying to one of our colleges where they will house your major. It's important to note as well that some of these colleges and some of these majors will have some extra requirements. Most notably, our College of Engineering and Computer Science has extra math requirements. Our College of Nursing is only a freshman direct admit nursing program with a bunch of different deadlines. And our College of Science, depending on the major you're looking to go into, will have some extra requirements as well. These require a lot of focus and a lot of attention in order to make sure we get all the details right for you. So instead of me sharing every single program that we have today, this is where I recommend that you reach out to FAU, talk to your admissions counselor, and they will help you understand exactly what you need to do for the different majors that you might be interested in. Okay. Also, for those students that want to explore a little bit of a challenge, we have a couple of different honors opportunities here at FAU. First, we have our University Honors Program and our Upper Division Honors Program. These are located on our Boca campus, where you're going to do some extra honors level work along with your regular major work. This allows you to engage in research earlier on, engage in research in a way that's sort of fed in directly into your major, and also engage in a deeper way with your material. For those students that want maybe a bit of a different experience altogether, we also have our Harriet L. Wilkes Honors College, which is located on our Jupiter campus, about 45 minutes north of our main Boca campus. The main Boca campus has about 30,000 students. The Jupiter Honors College campus has about 800 students. It's a much smaller campus, similar to a private liberal arts education, but at a public institution cost. So if you're interested in taking your education just a little bit further, we have all these honors opportunities for you. Now, I've talked about research a bunch and I've talked about internships. It's important to understand I can't overstate their importance, right? Research and internships allow you to engage in professional ways with your different majors and academic interests and the future of your career, okay? When you are at FAU, you should be getting involved with research and internships from day one because we allow you to get involved with all this from day one. Whether you're interested in getting involved with any of our internships, of which over 70% are actually paid, or getting involved with research activities anywhere from hopping on to someone else's research project or leading your own research project. Whatever you want to do, you should be thinking from day one, what are the ways that I can augment my academic learning with professional development right alongside. Okay? Now, that's all the serious stuff. It's important though to note that we're also a pretty fun place to be. We're in South Florida. It's a wonderful environment. We are 1.8 miles away from the beach, so there's a lot of fun things to do obviously in our area, but you don't have to get off campus to have a good time. We have over 300 clubs and organizations. These are clubs and organizations ranging from professional organizations dealing with different majors to just fun things like our Quidditch club. If you have a clever organization, or if you have an interest that you don't see a clever organization for just yet, you can actually go register for that club and organization to exist. You just need 8 other people that are interested in that activity, and you can register your club, receive money to host your own events. We have over 5,000 student-led events hosted here at FAU every single year. So you have a lot of opportunities to just engage on campus. You have more than an event a day, right? And lastly, we are a Division One team, or we're a Division One school with 19 different Division One sports, anything from football to basketball to soccer. We have so much sports on campus. We have a great tailgating scene when our football games are happening, which our first games actually just happened. But our first home game's coming up. Right? Lots of stuff happening on campus to make sure that you're able to stay engaged, get involved, have a great time. We want to make sure that you understand that you're part of a community, right? What's really nice about the community aspect in the sports is that we are really dedicated to making sure you're able to be involved. So all of our students are able to attend any home game on campus entirely for free. Okay. You want to go to a football game, you want to go to a basketball game, you want to go to a soccer game, you never have to pay. You just have to go online, claim your ticket, and you're good to go. For some things like basketball, there is the tickets do go pretty fast, so make sure that you sign up early. For football games, we're usually able to get pretty much all of our students in. So if you're interested in sports, please come check out every single iteration of the Owls that you can. Now, none of this matters if you don't come to FAU. So first you have to apply. The application is pretty simple. You can either apply online at apply.fau.edu, or you can apply through the Common App. If you're interested in the Honors College, you'll need to apply through the Common App. No matter how you apply, just make sure you only apply one time, okay? Applying twice doesn't give you twice the chance of getting in. We'll just delete one of your applications. So make sure that you apply one time through the Common App or through our application. You're going to complete that application and pay your $30 application fee or provide documentation for a fee waiver. You will then self-report your grades through the SSAR, the self-reported student academic record, and then you will self-report your test scores on your application portal. Once you've completed all of those things, your application is complete. But there's a little more detail, as you've heard from a couple of other schools that we're going to get into, all right? One thing as well is when we're looking at your academic profile, that's going to be the core of how we're going to decide, you know, whether you can come to FAU or not. If you are, there we go, sorry, jumped ahead of me there. If you're concerned about your academic profile, do know that we admit students to both fall and the summer. And you'll see here that there's different student profiles for that. That's because summer admission is a little bit less competitive. My mind keeps on running forward. Summer admission is a little bit less competitive. It's a great time for a lot of our students to start their academic journey here at FAU. If you apply for fall though, and you don't quite meet requirements for the fall, we will absolutely consider you for the summer. So you only ever have to apply one time. Now, the PowerPoint wants to go to the next slide, so let's kind of do that. Here's the biggest change. You've already heard a couple of other schools say something similar. This year, FAU for the first time is doing early action. So all of those things about completing your application, you need to be conscious of when you are completing your application and what those deadlines are, okay? If you want to be considered for early action for summer or for fall, you need to make sure that you complete your application that you apply by October 15th and that you complete your application by November 1st. Okay? Any student that completes their application by November 1st and has applied by October 15th will release a decision by December 6th. Sorry, not by December 6th. We will release your decision on December 6th. All students will release their decisions on December 6th. If you don't meet that early action deadline, you'll still be considered for rolling admissions. The deadline for that is March 14th. That is more like our previous way of doing admissions. You kind of continue applying and we will release decisions on a rolling basis as we are able to. Okay. Notice there as well the nursing deadline for those students interested in our freshman direct admit nursing program is January 15th. And any student that completes an application by January 15th will automatically be considered for merit-based scholarships. All right. And now one last little thing, another change this year is our housing deadline. We now have a priority housing deadline of March 17th at 5 p.m. There's high demand for housing. We have lots of housing available for our students. But if you want to be considered for housing, make sure you apply for housing by March 17th. After that, I don't know what's going to happen. We're likely to go to a wait list for housing. So definitely, if you're interested in coming to campus, living on campus, apply for housing by March 17th. Okay. All right. That is all for me.
Well, thank you so much. Mitch, we did have a question specific to FAU. It said, are first-year students required to live on campus?
No, there's no housing requirement outside of the Honors College. Our Honors College does have a 2-year housing requirement where you do need to live on campus for the first 2 years. But if you're attending the Boca campus, the main campus, there is no housing requirement.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Emma, I know you have been so patient in hanging in there with us. So I definitely want to make sure that we get to Emma Hansen with University of North Florida. And then I also want to encourage our families, don't go away yet because we do have a few minutes for questions. And I have been diligently noting all of the questions that have come up in the chat because a lot of them pertain to all of our universities, not just one. And so rather than go individual universities, we will be posing those questions to all of our universities and allowing everyone to answer. Before I let you go, Mitch, one more question did pop in. They wanted to know about the requirements for, it looks like Bachelor's of Science or Master, it says MD for FAU.
Oh, is that about the BSMD?
Yes, BSMD.
Okay. The
I wasn't
BSMD,
sure how to read that one.
yep, the BSMD is an extremely selective program. I think we only bring in about 12 students a year where you are guaranteed admission to our medical school after completion of your bachelor's,
Oh,
pending successful completion of your MCATs to a certain minimum. That program is run by the College of Medicine. So the best thing to do is to get in touch with us as soon as possible so we can direct you to them to learn more about it. But all of their requirements, minimum requirements, are on the website. If you Google FAU BSMD, you will see exactly what their minimums are, their deadlines. Like I said, it is extremely competitive. I think the minimum required SAT score is like a 1440. You have to have a 4.3 minimum core weighted GPA. But again, there are very few programs in the country that have a guaranteed track into medical school. So you would basically do 7 years guaranteed at FAU, you're gonna be a doctor.
okay. And then you did say to, excuse me, you said FAU BSMD.
BSMD, Bachelor's of Science Medical Degree.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, just because, yep, here it is. I just want to go ahead, I'll drop it in to the chat, and then that way our families will have that. So I went ahead, I dropped that in the chat. We're going to go ahead and head to Emma, who's hanging in there with us. We're hanging in there with you. Emma, go ahead and tell us about the University of North Florida.
Okay, third time is the charm. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can see me. Thank you so much for bearing with my technical difficulties. And I just want to say too, in the sake of our time, please come visit the University of North Florida. There's also going to be the OCPS College Fair on a Saturday in person. I myself will be present, and I'm sure a lot of my colleagues will be present as well. So you already know where UNF is located. You know what we're kind of about. Football season has started. We are big fans of the Jacksonville Jaguars here, so there is a lot to do within the Jacksonville community. I have already mentioned our different colleges that we have on campus. Some notable programs might be our nursing program and our kinesiology program within our Brooks College of Health, international business, with psychology. We have 5 engineering programs, 4 computing programs. If you want to be a teacher, go into sports management, definitely check out our College of Education and Human Services. So definitely please look at our different colleges. Similar to other colleges within the state of Florida, we do have our Hicks Honors College. The best way I can describe this is going to be, it's not like high school where the classes are necessarily harder. They will be more critical thinking and discussion based. Some of your students might be familiar with the idea of a Socratic seminar within their high school classes. Some of the classes are focused kind of in this way where it is more collaborative, so that they can work very closely with their peers. If you have any students who are interested maybe in undergraduate research, they have fully funded grant opportunities, additional scholarships, and between you and me, we are building a brand new resident hall that will be dedicated to our Hicks Honors students that is set to open fall of 2025. So that is a very exciting new addition to our campus. We have a lot of different student supports. Every first-year student, regardless of college credit, will be meeting with their first-year advisor at new student orientation. If they do have a plethora of college credits, say they're coming in with their AA, and they are an upper student, then they will move on to their preferred program. But for the sake of just keeping all the students together, first year advising. Similar to other institutions as well, we have our Career Resource Center. I always say if your student knows what they want to do in college, don't know how that translates into the real world, or vice versa, the Career Resource Center can absolutely assist with that, build resumes, mock interviews, and they do hold many job fairs that are on our campus. Our counseling center is at no additional cost to students, so if your student's having a rough transition into college, just wants to speak with somebody, this is a great opportunity for them. Student Academic Success Services, this is a fancy way for tutoring. We really don't want to say that a student's going to go here when they're in desperate need of help. We want them to be actively engaged in all of their classes, and they're going to be working with their peers to kind of strengthen their skills in any type of classes that they're in, especially those finance classes, chemistry, biology, anything that needs additional support. So for those who are looking to live on campus and kind of our campus life, we do have over 200 clubs and organizations. This includes our Greek life on campus, professional clubs, academic-based clubs. I saw someone in the chat was interested in maybe like becoming a vet. We have a pre-vet club, pre-dentistry, any type of club that you're wanting to get involved with. We also have 19 Division I sports on campus. These sports are a wide range, men's and women's basketball, baseball, softball, track and field, and we are located in the ASUN conference. We also have our eco adventures on campus, perks of being in the state of Florida. We have our Lake Oneida with a ropes course and a zip lining course, and they do take students off campus for a lot of different excursions, and we do have a surf club. So if you're looking to get a little closer to the beach, you can definitely be a part of our surf club, and they've gone to nationals in the past. If you are looking to live on campus, as I said, we are building a brand new resident hall, but we currently have 4 dedicated to our first year students. And if you do come for a campus tour, you'll be able to see one of these samples rooms. Typically, the layout is going to be 2 or 3 students per room, and those roommates will share their own restroom. And then we do have the hall, which is more of the traditional style, which has that communal bathroom that's cleaned twice a day. And you can find some more information about our housing on our website, and which is where that QR code, or you can just search UNF housing. So now to get into the nitty gritty of becoming an Osprey, we are strictly merit-based within our admission process. So you will need to submit an application either through our institutional application or the Common App. As my colleagues have said, we only encourage you to submit one application. If you submit both, we'll probably end up deleting one of them. We just need one. So submit institutional or through the Common App. There is a $30 application fee. You can send us your high school transcripts or send in the SSAR. Self-reported student academic record is preferred, and we only require 1 test score. So this can include your SAT, ACT, or the CLT. We will take the highest score in consideration, and if you've taken both of them, all of them, if you've taken them multiple times, please feel free to send us in all of those options. As we are strictly merit-based, we are going to recalculate your admissions GPA based on your core curriculum classes. So as other institutions, those 4 English credits, 4 math credits, 3 natural science, 3 social science, 2 years of a sequential foreign language, and then 2 academic electives. These academic electives might include maybe an AP art class, anything that's more of like AP psychology that might go towards social science, just to answer any type of confusion that might bring up. And if you are involved in any pre-ACE, pre-IB honors programs, we do award an additional half-point weight to your GPA if you receive a C or higher, and an additional full point weight for those AP, IB, dual enrollment, and ACE credits. These are going to be our academic profiles for our summer and for our fall term. We do automatically consider you for all options. So if a student is going to prefer wanting admission to the fall, we encourage you to apply as such. But this is going to be that recalculated GPA and then at least a corresponding test score. So this is also available on our website. For our different deadlines that we do have a priority application deadline of November 1st. So we will be releasing those decisions by November 13th. So if you apply now up until November 1st, you'll receive your decision November 13th. If you do apply after this date, you'll be considered on a rolling admissions basis. And that is when we will go ahead and release your decision in about a 5 to 8 week timeline, depending. And as you can see, we do have 2 different deadlines later on for that rolling admission. It's going to be the application and materials, just to give your students some time to send us in their transcripts and their test scores. For any type of scholarship or financial aid questions, please feel free to visit our website. We do have a priority consideration for our merit-based scholarships of January 15th. So for a student who's looking at any of our merit-based scholarships, which is going to be these up above, the first block there is going to be for our Florida resident students. I encourage you to apply by or before January 15th, just so you could be considered for these. And if you do have any other questions, just know we're a public Florida institution. If you have Bright Futures, FAFSA, Florida Prepaid, any other type of scholarships as well, they will all stack on top of our merit-based scholarships offered. If you do want to come visit the University of North Florida, which I highly encourage you to do, our biggest event is going to be October 26th. That will be our Explore UNF, where we'll have all 5 of our colleges on campus, kind of explaining the different areas and what they can offer for students. If you're interested in nursing, engineering, honestly, all of the colleges, I highly encourage you come for these events, because we do not offer specialized campus tours for like our nursing program, but we do for education, for engineering. So definitely look into those as well. This is just kind of a general timeline. Again, try to submit those applications by November 1st. We encourage you to start touring universities if you haven't already. And again, the timeline to secure your spot at UNF, the latest to do so is going to be May 1st. But as other institutions have been saying, housing's first come, first serve. So we absolutely encourage you to do that sooner rather than later. I know I breezed through all of that information. I am more than happy to speak with students one-on-one. Please send me an email within your applicant portal if you choose to apply. My face and my contact is all right there. So please feel free to reach me, and I hope to see you maybe at some of these college fairs. But Victoria, thank you for your patience, and thank you for everyone else for sticking with us.
Well, thank you. And I do appreciate you all. We do have some questions if you can bear with us. I know we're going a little over time, but it was, to be honest with you, at one point we had over 325 participants. So this is a lot of great information. Before we get into questions, thank you, Emma, for mentioning we do have the OCPS College and Career Fair coming up at Boone High School, September 21st from 10 to 2 o'clock. We will have sessions where you will get information about Florida Financial Aid and Bright Future Scholarship. We have sessions, if any of you are first generation to college, we have a presenter who will tell you some of the things you need to know as a first generation going off to college. We have also the Department of Athletics will be presenting a session on all the NCAA requirements if you're going to college. So I really encourage families to please, I put the registration link in the chat. Please sign up to come out. It's an incredible day. It's all free. We give you lunch and you get, right now, we have almost 80 different institutions that will be at the OCPS College and Career Fair. And last year we had over 1,200 families that came to visit. If you happen to be, right now, I think all the schools that are with us, you guys are already signed up. But if for some reason you're not, make sure you let me know because I can send you the registration form and we would love to have you join us. We do have some questions kind of for the good of the group. So I thank you for your patience. I did want to ask you if they were asking that if scholarships are offered to non-green card or citizens only, or can they be offered to visa holders as well? So I know that there's been a question because some of our families are non-green card holders or citizens, and they just want to know how does your school handle that? And anyone can jump in.
Sure, I can start this one off. So any kind of federal aid does require some kind of resident status, right? And that's not just us. That's a nationwide thing. That doesn't mean that there aren't other forms of aid available. Every school is going to have different options available, and there's even scholarships available to students from specific countries, certain countries. It can get tricky, but the most important thing is that for every single school, even before you're admitted, you ask about what those options are available. Something that, for example, a lot of people tend to forget about is, we're talking about Florida public universities. In-state residency is the best financial aid you can get. And for a lot of students, depending on your residency situation, even if, depending on where you're at, you can actually still get in-state residency in a variety of different ways. So definitely talk to each individual school about your specific situation because there are layers. If I were to send you right now our page for residency and our page for different financial aid, you're gonna have to do like a big mix and match of finding out, well, like this visa type leads to this and this number. It's a lot, right? So is it possible? Absolutely. There are sources always available. You might be a little bit more limited as to the sources of financial aid you have available to you depending on your residency status, but definitely talk to each school specifically about your specific situation. Get that individualized attention rather than looking to get sort of broader strokes.
Thank you, Mitch, so much. Did anyone want to add anything?
I want to join in and say that, Mitch, that was a great explanation. Please reach out to each respective school to see like what their specific scholarship and funding, guidelines are. He is 100% correct when it comes to federal regulations and guidelines for federal aid. There are specific regulations that we are not able to go around. But in particular for like Florida State University, we do have our Center for Global Engagement that does allow for students that are coming from different backgrounds or different countries to look into some different scholarship opportunities from specific countries that the center works with. We do have our non-resident tuition waiver where even if you are not a permanent resident of the United States or of the state of Florida, if you've attended a Florida high school, I believe it's for 3 or more consecutive years, and you've graduated from a Florida high school, you may qualify for that non-resident tuition waiver. And I know a lot of other schools have programs like that, but it's really hard to kind of give you a broad general answer about like what the schools are doing because they each have their own little nuances to the programs themselves.
Awesome. To piggyback on that a little bit, I did have a participant say, what would you suggest for ESOL students who have come to this country during their 10th grade or their 11th grade? And while they were the best of students in their class, in their home, in their, previous country, that English is not strong enough yet to get a good score on like SAT or ACT, but she has like 400 volunteer hours in her home country and was awarded many different awards. Like, what is your suggestion for how they would go about helping their child, I guess, apply and have the best option?
I'll lead off again. I saw that
Okay.
question earlier, and that's something we deal with a lot here in South Florida. We have a lot of students who have come over at various times in their high school careers, oftentimes on refugee status. We have a large population of Venezuelan students, students who came over from Ukraine, for all kinds of reasons. And they've been in situations where, again, they're fantastic students, but the language barrier is a barrier. And I believe the question also referred to SAT and ACT scores because
Yeah.
if you're not raised in the U.S., standardized testing in the U.S. can be a huge barrier to entry. For FAU specifically, my first recommendation would be to apply as early as possible so you understand so you can get a decision as early as possible. So you know better how to plan. And then the second recommendation, all of us here are SUS schools, but we all have amazing partnerships with our FCS, our Florida College System schools, and our Florida College System schools, generally speaking, do not require test scores. So
Okay.
that's a fantastic opportunity for you to go complete 30 to 60 credits and then transfer in at a time where you will no longer need your test scores depending on how many credits you complete. Because I know, for example, for FAU, things like language proficiency can be a barrier for some students. And instead of taking a TOEFL, for many students, the better option is to complete, English 1101 and 1102 and then transfer in. Or if test scores are a problem, there's a variety of ways to get admitted without needing test scores. First and foremost, if you have an AA, we don't need test scores anymore. So that for me is apply early, and then if not, please attend one of our partner colleges. They're fantastic. Their credits transfer. It's really easy. It's really fantastic. Super supportive. Wonderful experience.
Thank you so much, Mitch. I appreciate that. We also had a couple questions, and the one just popped up again about 11th grade students. And I know that there was a lot of talk about early action deadlines and, better to apply early. So if they have a student in 11th grade, should they start applying for schools, or do they really have to wait until they're in 12th grade?
I can take point on this one in particular for Florida State University. We do suggest that students wait until they begin their senior year to start the application. In particular, and this is the case for a lot of our SUS institutions, our applications will open alongside Common App, which is typically the beginning of August. And we highly recommend that students wait for their senior year so we can have the most complete picture of their high school career, the most complete picture of their extracurricular activities and things of that nature. So we highly recommend that students wait till their senior year to apply.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Courtney. Is there a better chance to be accepted if you do complete some classes at a state or community college than if you are just applying directly to the university?
Start with this one. I'm sure a lot of opinions on this one. I wouldn't say overall better chance because there's a lot of things we look at, but for our recalculated GPA, those college level courses are going to be weighted more heavily, right? So they're going to increase the student's GPA, making them more competitive. I think almost all of us look at rigor of courses as well, and those are just about as rigorous as you can get being in high school. So it certainly looks good, and I think it certainly benefits the student, especially if they do well in those classes. That's showing us that you're doing well at the college level. Good indicator of how you'll do when you're with us, whereas the contrary can actually be quite hurtful to an application. So yeah, I would say if a student's taking college classes at a state or community college, that is a great thing to do as long as they're doing well and taking them seriously. Those grades do transfer over, so those grades will impact their college GPA when they start. And some students don't realize that. But if you're doing at UCF, at least AP, IB, ACE, dual enrollment, those all look very similar to us as they're all kind of a similar level.
And to build on that, if you don't mind, Haley, there was a question that was saying kind of, is there a difference between a student taking the honors classes versus like dual enrollment?
So honors versus a dual enrollment, for us, honors is given an additional half point of weight.
Okay.
A dual enrollment or a college level class is going to be given an entire full 1 point of weight. I always tell students to challenge themselves within reason. If you're going to take an honors class and make sure you do well. If you're going to take an AP class and get a C, you might as well have taken a regular class and gotten an A, right? So it'll be weighted a little bit heavier.
Okay, that's very helpful. We do have someone Rebecca has hung in there the whole time, and she said she's doing a dual enrollment program in digital media, multimedia design at OTC. And she's been wondering if when applying, can she have credits that she's doing right now transferred to either UF or UCF?
Go
So
ahead and-
generally,
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I should have muted myself, but generally, I think Orange Technical College is not a state or community college. It's a technical college. So not all of those courses transfer to UCF. We would ask you to send a transcript. I'll put a link in the chat to our transfer equivalency portal, which is an established list of all of our course equivalencies that we have so far, so you can get a good idea. But the course equivalency and kind of that credit evaluation will happen after admission.
And Beth, please go ahead and jump in as well.
So what I was going to say something very similar that we will take up to 45 credits for AP, IB, or ACE classes, up to 60 credits for dual enrollment. I don't know because Orange Technical doesn't fall under the state university system. I don't know that we will take credits from them. When we are reviewing students who are applying, we are looking for rigor, as everyone has stated before. We don't have any preference for that rigor because we know that every school offers different opportunities for students. We expect to see that rigor based on what your school offers. So that's going to be part of what of the review process is looking to know what your school offers and how have you chosen to challenge yourself based on that. But I am pretty sure that with Orange Technical, because it is not within the system, I'm not sure that those credits transfer. I will say that if you wish to contact our office, when unfortunately, I'm not on the office right now, I'm on the road, I'll be able to look that information up and give you a more specific answer as far as UF goes.
Thank you. I was going to say we're coming into going well over any time I could have imagined. It's been so much longer. So I do want to thank all of you so much for your time. And again, to encourage our families, the College and Career Fair at Boone High School is Saturday, September 21st. Many of these schools, in fact, almost all of these schools, have signed up to be there. And so you will have an opportunity to talk to representatives in person. Thank you so much to all of you. As you can see, our families were highly invested in tonight, and we really do thank you so much for your time and your expertise. I hope if you're on the road, you've got safe travels. If you aren't on the road, I hope I get to see you September 21st. Thank you to everyone. Have a great night.